Hello and welcome, friends. Welcome back to my podcast, Unwind and Knit with me. My name is Lisa and I'm coming to you from Christchurch in New Zealand. This is episode 67. Can't believe the month's already over, but anyway, that's how it is. So to all my existing viewers that have returned, thank you. And to any new viewers, I hope you're enjoying the content, and always please subscribe, give it a thumbs up, leave comments. I always endeavour to get back to everybody, and any engagement that you can give my podcast is greatly appreciated, because that just helps me with my YouTube channel. So welcome back, everybody. You can find me on social media on Facebook and Instagram as Unwind and Knit with me. And we also have a community page, which is a private page on Facebook that I'd love you to come over and join. And that's where you can post what you're knitting and what you're doing. And it's really neat because you get to see what I'm doing. And if you post on there, then I get to see what you're doing. It's a really nice little community. And we have got a promotion going there at the moment. So post what you're working on with the hashtag Summer Knits. And at the end of summer, I will draw a random prize. And I have got that sorted. So I will hopefully get that out and show it to you. But it's a leather bag. So pop over and join our Facebook group. You will be asked a couple of questions to answer, and a moderator will welcome you into the group. And that's just so it stays closed and it's just our little space, our little place where we knit. Anyway, so let me see if I've covered that. Facebook, Instagram, Ravelry, I'm Lisa NZ Knitter. I have got that fairly well up to date, and my New Year's resolution is to be really good at that with my notes. So yeah, Lisa NZ Knitter on Ravelry. Anything I talk about here on my podcast, I leave quite detailed show notes, and I leave all the links, so you can just click on those links. It'll take you to any patterns or yarns that I talk about. Also, I have an online store called Unwind and Knit with me. It's unwindandknit.com, and so please pop over and have a look at my little online store. Thank you to everyone that supports that business. Once again, it's you, my customers and my viewers, that enable me to keep doing what I'm doing here. So thank you very much. Welcome to my new space. So for all my existing viewers, you will know that up until today, I have always done my podcast in my shop with my shelves of yarn and my shop as my backdrop. And I always wanted to have a dedicated space for podcasting, because when I podcast down there, I have to set it all up with my tripod and all my goods, and then afterwards I have to clear it all out. And I was clearing it all out into my living room, so that became a bit of a dumping ground, which annoyed me because I don't like clutter and things out of place. And so when my daughter, my last of our children, moved out of home, I had spare room upstairs, and I created this space, which I absolutely love. I bought cabinets for my stash. So my stash used to be stored in big plastic Sistema boxes, where now my stash is all on display behind glass. And I've created this beautiful little space, and this is where I want to podcast from. And because I can keep all my equipment permanently set up, I'm hoping that it will actually encourage me to podcast a bit more, maybe a bit more often. So welcome to my new space. And I'm also trialing out some new equipment in the way of photography and microphones. So fingers crossed that this is all going well. I've done a couple of trial errors, but I am playing around with lighting. I'm trying to use natural light from the window, but I have to also be conscious that it reflects off the glass on the shelves behind me. So fingers crossed that this is coming across well. And if it's not, I will try to correct it for my next one. So that's where I'm at. So bear with me and let's hope it all goes well. I think I've covered all the admin things. I hope so. I do hope so. At the end of this podcast, I do a shop update about what's new in my store, and I have changed that a little bit. I've created a bit of a slideshow, so if that interests you, hang around to the end of the episode and you'll see my shop update. That's the other thing too that I wanted to mention. January, actually December as well, but I find January a really exciting time because a lot of people are traveling and moving, and I've had a lot of people come to visit me. They've contacted me to open my store by appointment. So hello to everybody that has popped in to say hello. People from all around the country, so that's been really lovely to meet a lot of people. Yeah, it's just been exciting. With my store, for those that don't know, I open most Saturdays from 10 to 2 to the public, but any other time I open by appointment, and I'm always here because I work from home. So please, if you're in Christchurch or you're travelling through Christchurch, just reach out and come and see me. You can contact me too via my website, which is unwindandknit.com. There's a section down below where you can email me. But it's also got my details, so you can phone or text me. So that's that. I am reading from my notes, so I hope you don't mind. I've made some really good progress with my journaling. I mentioned in my last podcast that it was something that I wanted to do was journaling. I always keep a knitting journal, but I wanted to expand on that. But I thought I'll save that to my next episode, and I'll show you where I'm at and what I've been doing with my journaling. I mentioned our promo, #Summer Knits, on our community page. There's been some lovely things already only in the last couple of weeks. A lot of you have jumped on and posted your what you've been knitting on. Absolutely loved it. It actually really excites me to see what everyone else is doing. So please keep doing it. In this episode, I do have actually 2 finished objects. I have 2 new cast-ons. And before I get on to the knitting, I was going to mention it in my shop update, but I will just mention it now so I don't forget. I'm the New Zealand stockist for Thread and Maple, which is the leather goods for holding your needles and leather bags. I am in the process of putting a new order together. There are a few new pages out for Chalgu needles, and I will be restocking some of my bags. So if there's anything in particular that you're after that you want me to bring into New Zealand, please reach out and contact me, hopefully within the next few days, and I will add that to the order if I haven't already ordered it. So yeah, reach out. And I normally say this at the end, but I'm going to say it now before I get into what I'm knitting. Thank you for sticking with me. I'm about 3.5 years into podcasting now, episode 67. And I do just want to say thank you because there are so many knitting podcasts out there. So if you've chosen to spend your time with me, thank you very much. Now, let's talk about knitting. I'm going to talk about what I'm wearing. Okay, that was a really long introduction, I feel. So let's get into the knitting. What I'm wearing is the Stripes by Andrea Mowry. And in my notes, I've actually got what I'm wearing, question mark, because I didn't know what I was going to wear. Because we've just had really bizarre weather. So yesterday was 28, it was really hot here, and today I think it's only 18 and it's overcast. So I left a question mark there. So only 10 minutes ago I decided what I was going to wear. So Stripes jersey by Andrea Mowry. I haven't got an overlay prepared for it, but there's the pattern there. If you followed me for a while, you will have seen this jersey. I knitted it a couple of years ago, and this is actually my second one. I've knitted 2 of them. Love wearing it. it's a top-down yoke construction. You do get the option for a wider neck or a narrower neck. I chose the wide neck. I have done this with 3/4 sleeves and it's quite cropped. So I do wear it with sort of a skirt or high-waisted pants. At the moment, I've actually got it on with a pair of shorts, so I'm not going to show you. But I love this. I love this jersey. I love the construction, and I love the fact that you can mix and match so many colours. You'll see there with the one Andrea's done, there's all sorts going on. There's blues and oranges and browns and burgundies. I have done mine in the Yarnadelic Sports Weight, which is a yarn by John Arbon Textile, and I used 6 colours. Now they're my 6 colours there. I have all of these on my project notes in Ravelry, but what I've done is I've used 5 colours, so those 5 colours there, and then the Ordinary Joe, which is the neutral, I have repeated twice. So I'll just tell you the colours in case you're interested. The neutral that I've used is Ordinary Joe. The lighter blue is called Woman in Blue. The grey colour is called Nobody Knows. And then I just love these 3 colours. So that's Badi Da, Of My Hands, and Indigo Dust. I've used these blues in a few different projects, so they're not new. You would have seen them all before. But I haven't got any notes with me about this. What I do remember is that I did the jogless stripe technique down the back, so you didn't get that little sort of step where you changed colours. So the jogless stripe technique, there is a lot of tutorials for that on YouTube. I also did a technique called Weave and Steven, which is a technique that Stephen West came up with for weaving in the ends as you go, because there's so many colour changes that who likes weaving in all the ends at the end. So I did use a technique called Weave and Steven. You can YouTube that one. And other than that, I can't remember doing any modifications. I won't stand up in it because I feel really awkward doing that. But if you jump over to Ravelry, Lisa NZ Knitter, you'll see a picture of it in full. So that's what I'm wearing. I'm really, really happy to have 2 finished objects. I really feel like I've accomplished quite a lot, which is a really nice feeling. My first finished object that I'm going to talk about is the Chantal V-neck, Chantal sweater V-neck, and it's by Moreca Knits. I'm going to insert an overlay of it right here so you can actually see the pattern. I started this pattern twice. I did it once, got halfway, undid it and redid it. Really, really happy that I did redo it. This jersey it's worked from the top down in a slip stitch pattern. You start at the back and you knit back and forth. You knit the yoke back and forth, and while you're doing that, you're increasing for raglan and also V-neck shaping. There's short rows used at the back. Yeah, and then it's joined at the underarms. You pick up underarm stitches and you knit down to the body. After the body is completed, you pick up your stitches for the sleeves, and they are knitted in the round. I use a 30 centimetre fixed needle to do my sleeves, and they make sleeve knitting really easy. Then you go and you pick up the stitches around the V-neck. It's 1 by 1 ribbing with a CDD, which is a central double decrease. I'll show it to you. This sweater, I will just say, it's designed to have 15 to 20 centimetres of positive ease. So as you would have seen in the picture that I put up, it has been designed as quite an oversized sweatshirt. I didn't want quite that much positive ease, so I did go down a size. I have used a 4.5mm needle, which is recommended, and I did the size 4. And the pattern calls for a sports weight yarn. So once again, I haven't got it here. Once again, I used the Yarnadelic. This colour is called Galetta, and I absolutely love it. It's kind of a dark bronze rust colour, is what I'll say. You can see here, I'm hoping you can see it because, like I said, I'm using new equipment, but the V-neck I absolutely love. Now, with this sweater, I have told you before, I knitted half of it and I did the V-neck and then I pulled it all out and had to start again. So the pattern called for an Italian bind-off, and I did that. And then when I went to try it on, I couldn't fit it over my head. It was terrible. That bind-off was way too tight, especially the way that I did it. And there were a couple of other things that weren't right, so I pulled it all back and I started again. Now this time, the bind-off I have used, and I'm going to leave the link below for it, it's called the, I'm going to say Ruke or Ruki. It's R-U-K-E, sewn bind-off. It's very quick, it's very easy. There's no, like with a lot of the Italian bind-off and the tubular bind-off, there's often like 6, 7 or 8 movements. With this bind-off, it's just one. It's so easy. It's stretchy, but it does give you the appearance of like a tubular bind-off, you know, the rounded edge that you get. I really recommend this bind-off. And I also did that. Yeah, I did the same bind off on the sleeves and on the body. I want to show you a little bit of a hack that I come across, and I don't know if I saw somebody else do it or whether I just come across it by chance. But you know when you have to do a sewn bind off, and say for around the body, and you have to measure out 4 times the length of yarn, so then you're sewing your bind off with this piece of yarn that's about 3 meters long. I'm going to show you what I did. I'm going to do a quick pause. Okay, let me see if I can demonstrate this. If I can't demonstrate it well, I might do a wee video and show you next time. By the way, I didn't mention, this jersey, I allowed 5 skeins of yarn and I have about a half of one left. So what I wanted to show you, and a lot of you may already know this, but just say this is the garment and the yarn's attached to it. And I've had to measure out, say, 3 meters of yarn, which is really hard to sew with. But what I did is I actually doubled it over and I threaded that double piece through the eye of the needle. So you can see there I've actually doubled it. So now there's 4 strands. So can you see what I've done there? Does that make sense? And then I just start sewing, and then as I need to, I just unravel that and allow for more length. So instead of having it just through twice, I've actually got it through that needle 4 times. Anyway, I don't know if that makes sense. I might actually do a video on it because it makes doing your bind off so easy. Anyway, I will insert a quick video here of me wearing it so you can see what it looks like on. That Yarnadelic as well, I'll leave the link below for that. There's 20 colours, so I'm sure you'll find a colour there. If you're keen to do this pattern, I'm sure you'll find a pattern, a colour there that you like. The other thing I did, I was getting down towards the end of my sleeve and I thought these sleeves are going to be too long for me. My arms just aren't that long. So I reduced the amount of rows between my decreasing. but they're still a little bit too long. And when I finished it, I thought, oh, do I unpick it and shorten them? But I'm also aware that it's an oversized jersey, so I don't mind it. Because it is the sort of thing I'll wear out on a cold day, and I actually don't mind the sleeves coming down over my hands a bit. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I think I'll leave the sleeves as they are. The pattern does say for intermediate experience. It's an easy pattern in the sense that it's a knit slip stitch pattern, but I did make a couple of small errors, and then I unpicked it, but it was mainly because I didn't read the pattern properly. So I would say you need a little bit of experience to knit it, or at least somebody that can maybe guide you through some of the techniques. So that's my first finished object, which is the Chantal sweater V-neck by Moreca Knits. I am just going to change the mannequin, and I'm going to share with you my second finished object. Okay, so second finished object. This is the Cumulus blouse by PetiteKnit, and I'll insert a photo here so you can actually see a photo of the pattern. So this garment, it does come in 10 sizes. It goes up to a 5XL, so it's quite size inclusive. The recommended yarn is a silk mohair double stranded. The stitch gauge is 20 stitches on a 4.5mm needle, and it's designed to be worn with 12 to 15 centimetres of positive ease. The Cumulus blouse is worked from the top down in stockinette stitch with 2 strands of silk mohair held together. The design has a deep V-neck, and all the edges are finished off with an I-cord. I won't go on too much about the construction because I have talked about it in my last few previous podcasts, and you'll just be sick of me repeating the same old thing. But I absolutely am thrilled with this finished object. I really stepped out of my comfort zone with my colour choices. As you can see, I wear a lot of blues and neutrals, but really out of my comfort zone, but feel really good when I have worn it. I haven't worn it, I've really only worn it to try it on and take photos because it's actually been a bit too warm, but I know that I am going to love wearing this. I'll insert a photo of you here with me actually wearing it. For those of you that don't follow Facebook and Instagram, I know that some of my viewers don't follow social media. I have posted these photos of me wearing it on my Instagram and my Facebook, but that's me wearing it, but you can also check it out on Ravelry. The 3 colours, so what I wanted to say is the Kremke, it's Kremke Soul Wool Silky Kid. That's it there. I stock this, and it's the perfect yarn substitution for what PetiteKnit has used. So I've used these 3 colours. I've written the colour I have. So it's cherry red, orange and pink. I'm currently out of stock of the red. I think I only have 1 in stock, but I will be restocking that within the next week or 2, so just keep an eye on it. But this is a really beautiful silk mohair. 25 grams gives you 210 metres, and there's quite a large colour range. So the I-cord edging is really easy. If you haven't done it before and you think, I don't want to do that because I don't know how to do I-cord edging, don't let it put you off. It is super, super easy, and there's a lot of tutorials that can show you how to do it. It's not at all complicated. Once again, with this one, I probably could have shortened the sleeves a little bit. The sleeves are a little bit long, but I wasn't going to unpick it. What I have, just go to my notes. Okay, I haven't written them there. Oh, yes, I have. I think I'm going to have to go by memory. So the stripes that I've done is 24 rows or 9 centimetres, in case you're wanting those same sort of proportions And I did write that on my show notes in Ravelry. And other than your raglan increase in, which is make one left to make one right, it's really an easy knit. It's just a whole lot of stockinette stitch. I thought I would share with you. I'm sharing with you a few of my little tricks that I use, and I can't take the credit for this. So make one left, make one right. Back a few years ago, I used to have like little cheat sheets, little cheat cards that would, where I had written in my own writing so I could easily refer to it and know what a make one left and make one right is. And some years ago, I did a knit along with Stephen West, and he used this wee saying, and it's almost like, what is it, like word recognition? You say things to remind you of something. And so when I make one left, I always say to myself, left the front door open, make one left, left the front door open. So I knew to pick up from the front, and then make one right, be right back. So I knew that, and every time I make one right, I'd say be right back. So I knew that it was, I went into the back of the stitch. So left the front door open and be right back. They're the two things that I say to myself to remind me whether I go into the front of the stitch or the back of the stitch. So that's one of Stephen West's little sayings. Just checking my notes. Yeah, no, that's all I've written. Like I said, in both of these finished objects, I probably could have done the sleeves a little bit shorter. I don't know whether these are modelled off tall people with longer arms, and I'm not tall with long arms, but I should have been more mindful and tried it on sort of a lot earlier, but I didn't. But that's okay. I'm all good with that. So they're my two finished objects. I was hoping to have 3, so I'm not going to go on. I'll just briefly touch on this. I didn't bring it up here with me, but I've been doing a crocheted project called the Tropez top, and I had it close to being finished, but once again, I made a mistake. And the reason I made the mistake is because I didn't read the pattern far enough forward. And I do this often, and I've really got to get better at actually reading the whole pattern and not just jumping into it. So I made a mistake, and it's actually turned out way longer than what I wanted. So I have to actually rip back probably about, I don't know, 5 inches off both the back and the front. So yeah, that's quite annoying. But anyway, maybe next time I'll have it finished. I was just going to touch on, I haven't written any notes for these, but it was almost a finished object as well. So if you follow my social media, you'll see that on the weekend I went to the cricket with my husband. We've got a really nice cricket ground here in Christchurch, and it wasn't a big game. It was like our districts. It wasn't sort of a New Zealand versus India game, but it was a really warm day. But anyway, I always have this little project bag in my handbag for on-the-go knitting, and I took this project, which was my Oslo hat, and I thought, oh, that's good, I'll knit on that. But then when I got there, lucky I had a tape measure in my bag, I realised that I'm actually to the point where I need to start doing the decrease for the crown, and I didn't want to be doing that at the cricket. So I put it aside. So that's really close to being finished. And I pulled this project out. Now, I started this a couple of years ago. Everybody has knitted a muscle bra hat, I'm pretty sure, except for me. And a couple of years ago, I thought, well, I just have to jump on that bandwagon and I want to knit a muscle bra hat. So I started knitting one. And I think I started knitting it, we were travelling, and I needed something like for the flight and at the airports. So I cast this on for that reason. And I've only got that far. The wool, I don't know anything about this wool. I do believe that I received it in a yarn swap, some sort of mystery yarn swap that I was in. So I really don't. It definitely looks like an indie dyed sock yarn. But, and this, it's really quite interesting. If you haven't done a Musselburgh hat, it's really quite an interesting pattern. It's got a really nice crown that you start here at the crown, and then you knit down this big cylinder. You knit it really quite long, and then you tuck it back in itself, so it's double layered. But what you can do is when you get to this halfway point, you can change your colour and do the second half a different colour. So when you turn it in on itself and you turn it over for the brim, you've got two colours, and you can wear it reversible. So anyway, that's the Musselburgh hat. That is something else. I worked on that a little bit at the cricket. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about two new whips that I've started, and I'm really quite excited about these two, but I'm just going to pause for a minute so I can regather my stuff. Okay, so I've got my next project that I want to talk to you about, but I forgot to show you this. It was sitting here in my basket. So this stripes jersey that I'm wearing with Andrea and Mowry, I had some ladies in my shop last week that were looking at this pattern and they were playing with some colours, and it's always really neat to have somebody else come in and put colours together, because I think I would never have done that. And they put these 4 colours together, and I thought, no, I've got to share that with you because I just thought they were amazing. But this is the Yarnadelic, the sports weight, and they're the 4 colours. So what you've got there is a green, and I don't know what, this one's called Sunflowers in My Garden. It's like a gold, and then a burgundy and a black. But this black, it's called Black Gold in the Sun. When you hold this up in the light, it throws bits of gold and green. So those 4 colours I just thought looked stunning together if you like autumn tones, and would make a beautiful stripes jersey. So the green is called Harmonium. The plum colour is called Canta Diasana. These are named after music songs or songs. Sunflowers in My Garden is that gold, and this one is Black Gold in the Sun. That's showing up. It's probably, I actually can't tell from where I'm looking how well these are showing up, but it's just going to take a bit of bit more experience still at working with this new setup that I've got. So my new cast on, I talked about this in my last episode. I showed it as a pattern that I had found. So this designer, her name is Elenor Mortensen, and I've actually got quite a few of her patterns in my favourites, and this pattern's called the Nouveau sweater, and I'll insert a picture of that for you to see here, so you can see a picture of the pattern. So the Art Nouveau sweater is top down with a large Art Nouveau motif on the yoke. The sweater is knitted in the round from the neck down, and it can be worked with either long sleeves or short sleeves. It's done on a 4-ply fingering weight yarn with a 26 stitch gauge. Now, sorry, I'm going to rustle some paper here. Just to show you, I did do my swatch, and I wet blocked it, and I got it's done on a 3.5mm needle. I got gauge, perfect 26 stitches. So I did my swatch. Now I am using the mYak Fior di Lino. I have used this in my Suri shirt that I wear all the time, and I love this yarn, and I just wanted to knit with it again. So when I first decided that I was going to do this pattern, I thought I was going to do the graphite, which is the charcoal, and I was going to do the pink for the colour work. but I was really good and I actually read the pattern properly. And what Elenor has done there in the colour work, initially when I looked at the picture, I thought it was just like a yarn, like a spin cycle or an indie-dyed yarn that had a bit of colour change in it, but it wasn't. She's actually used a pink, I think it's called a cherry or some sort of cherry pink, and she's used a burnt orange. So that made me think, well, I can do that because the Fior di Lino has this beautiful, I have written down the names of the colour. I thought I had. So this one is called Butternut and this one is called Pink Cosmos. So they are the two colours that I'm using in the colour work yoke, and my main colour is Graphite. Now I have put this on cords so I can show you where I'm up to. I'm about halfway or maybe just over a third of working this colour work. And you can see the butternut, which is the orange and the pink. You only ever work with one colour and the black at any one time, so I use the double-stranded technique for alternating two colours. And what I'll do is I've actually laid this out and taken a photo of it flat so you can see it. So I'll insert that photo here so you can see what it looks laid out flat. So I am doing the size 4. I do plan on doing it a little bit cropped so it just sits on my waist. I won't do it long, and I am going to do it short sleeved. I love my short sleeve garments, and I talk about this often because I wear them in the winter over like a merino base layer. So short sleeves for me, I wear them a lot all year round, so I will do it short sleeved. The cast on I used was a German twisted cast on, and the short rows are German short rows, and that's what Elenor states in the pattern, they're German short rows. 3.5mm needle is what I'm using. Just so you know, when I cast that on in the round, I use my 10cm tips and I start with a 20cm cable, so that gives me 40. Then as I done some increasing, I changed my cable to the 35cm. Then I did some more increasing and I changed to the 55cm. And last night I did, I think it's the second last lot of increases, and I have changed to the 75cm. So I recommend you doing that as you go. Take the time to stop and change your cable, because you don't want your stitches too bunched up when you're carrying floats. So I am really happy with this. I am so glad that I read the pattern properly and I added in the extra colour, being the butternut, because originally I was just going to do the pink. Super happy with that. Okay, so that's probably all I've got to show you. I know that on my next podcast for sure I will have the yoke finished, at least. I should be working on the body. So I'm really, if you haven't already, Elenor Mortensen, I'll leave the link below for this pattern, but you can go into Ravelry, have a look at some of her other patterns. I think she's a really, I like her style, and I'm pretty sure that moving forward I will do more of her patterns. Okay, my next whip. Okay, I've really got my fingers crossed that this is filming okay. Fingers crossed. Okay, so my next whip that I'm working on is a pattern that actually wasn't even on my radar, but my friend knitted it and I saw her wearing it and I was like, wow, I have to have that this summer. So it's the Adriata by Joji Locatelli, and I'm going to insert a picture of it here for you to see. So Joji describes the Adriata as a romantic summer top, kissed by the sun and the sea, waves crashing in, carrying a cooling soft breeze. It is worked from the top down, seamlessly adorned with beautiful lace trimmings. The lace is both charted and written. It's an 11 stitch repeat over 6 rows. And you start with the back and it's knitted back and forth. Then you do the front, back and forth, and then you join it and you work it in the round. So where I've got to here is I've done the back. So you do the back right shoulder and then the left shoulder, and then you join the 2 shoulders together, and then you work down with some shaping to the underarm. So where I'm at now is I will do the front the same, and then I will join them and work them in the round. I'm hoping that lace pattern is showing up. It's absolutely beautiful. So where am I up to? This pattern is designed to be worn with 0 ease or negative ease. There are 10 sizes, so it's quite size inclusive. It goes to a 66-inch bust, and there is a schematic included. I have found this pattern to be really well written and easy to understand. Now, I did my swatch, as you can see there. I'll talk about my swatch first. So the pattern calls for a 20 stitch gauge over 10 centimeters. I did my swatch and I didn't get gauge. I have 23 stitches, so 3 stitches more than I need to. But I actually like this fabric, and to get gauge I would have had to have changed my needle size, and it would have altered the fabric. So what I did is I referred to the maths formula that you use. So I have this maths formula available as a document that I'm more than happy to email you. So if you want it, you can reach out to me at shop@ourmindandknit.co.nz. No, .com. Contact me. My link is in the show notes for my email, or you can email me through my website, ourmindandknit.com, and I will happily send you out. It's just one A4 piece of paper, and it has a formula that you can follow that will tell you what size you need to knit when you haven't got gauge but you're happy with the fabric that you've got. So more than happy to do that. In a nutshell, I wanted to do the size 3, which would have given me 0 ease, but once I did the maths, it worked out that I needed to do a size 4. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the yarn. So this is Studio Linen by Erica Knight. I have this in 4 colours that are all fairly sort of neutrally type shades. I will be adding, but if you're keen, jump on my website. The 4 colours that I've got, in my opinion, were the 4 best colours. So I just want to tell you about the yarn. So Studio Linen, the fabric is soft and silky, and it does have a bit of drape. What I will say is when I started it, it was prone to split a little bit. Not enough that was going to discourage me from knitting it, but enough for me to be conscious of my stitches and make sure I wasn't splitting the yarn. But what I decided to do, I got in only a small way, and I thought, well, my Chalgu Forte have a pointier tip. They're a little bit sharper than my normal Chalgu 10 centimeter that I use. So I actually changed the needles and used my Forte set, and I found that it was less of a problem. Don't let it put you off. I'm just saying it because it is something that you probably should be aware of. So to create Studio Linen, industrial waste linen fibres have been selected, undone and respun with 15% premium natural linen. So I just want to read this bit to you. So linen this is sort of new information to me, so I thought I'd share it. Linen is an ancient, sustainable natural fibre spun from the flax plant. Flax itself is naturally resistant to pests, and therefore practically no pesticides or herbicides are necessary to grow these eco-friendly stem fibre plants. Flax plants produce large amounts of usable fibre per acre and do not require irrigation. So I think environmentally it's quite a good fibre. Studio linen is a DK weight 8 ply, 50 grams is 120 metres, recommended needle size of 3.5 to a 4, and it's machine washable at 30 degrees. So that's my studio linen, and that is my, that's all I've written about the Adriata. I do plan on this weekend finishing, I think this is the back, doing the front and at least having it joined in the round so I can start on the body. So they are my two current whips, my Adriata and my Art Nouveau. And I am really happy and really excited about both of them, to be quite honest. Now, I have some new patterns that have captured my interest. Some of them may be new cast-ons in the future, and some are just patterns that I want to share with you because I think if I love them, you might love them too. So I'm just going to pause and regather, and I'll come back and share with you some new patterns. Okay, so the first new pattern that I want to share with you is a designer that I think I have talked to you about before, and it's Zanette Knits. It's spelled Z-A-N-E-T-E. So check her out on Ravelry. I'll leave the link below. But this sweatshirt is called the Regalia sweater, and I'll insert a photo of the pattern for you here so you can see it. Now, the Regalia sweater is a stunning top-down round yoke design that combines, wait for it, cables, lace, bobbles, special stitches, and a touch of simple stranded colour work. This unique mix makes the yoke an adorable joy to knit, keeping you engaged from start to finish, and when you wear it, be ready, you will feel regal and collect compliments wherever you go. Now, when you look at this pattern on Ravelry, you can click a link without purchasing the pattern. You can click on the link. So Zanette has done what she calls a deep dive video tutorial for this pattern. Yeah, so if this pattern interests you, it's probably worth having a look at that link before you go ahead and purchase it. I'll just read this this versatile design works beautifully with both bold contrast and subtle colour combinations. For best results, opt for a lighter contrast colour to highlight the intricate texture. Choose a yarn with excellent stitch definition to make every detail shine. Now, this pattern has been done in a sports weight yarn, so the perfect yarn substitution is my Yarnadelic. So this pattern has been designed to support you every step of the way with video tutorials. So I think it'd be a really nice pattern if you want a little bit of a challenge and you just want to do something that's really going to keep you interested. What else have we got here? I'll read this bit to you. So I said that video tutorials for key techniques like the cabling without a cable needle, making half double crocheted bobbles, short rows for the raised back, and clean professional tubular bind offs. So this pattern has so much, it has so many techniques, but they're all backed up with video tutorials. Like I said, the Yarnadelic, it's sports weight or 5 ply. It does have good stitch definition. The pattern is written for a 24 stitch gauge. And do have a look at other people's projects on Ravelry, and you will see some people have used light contrast, some people have used really bright contrast. It's so nice to see what other people have done with the pattern, and also to see other people wearing it with different body shapes, etc. I love bobbles, so this is a jersey that I think I want to cast on. I haven't looked at it closely enough to even think about what colours I would use. I probably would use the one I showed you before, Ordinary Joe. It's down on the floor now. The Ordinary Joe is the undyed one in this. I would probably use that colour for all the top part, the lacework, the bobbles and the cables. So, challenge yourself. That's the Regalia sweater by Zanette Knits. Okay, the next one that I want to share with you. Now this did come up on my Instagram. Published in the latest Liner magazine. Okay, so the designer of this pattern, her name is Jonna Helene. And she's the creative soul behind Liner Publishing, with 20 years experience in the publishing industry. So she is a knitter, but she's also the publisher behind Liner magazine. Now the sweatshirt's called the Perry, P-E-R-R-Y. I'm going to insert a picture of it here for you to actually see. Now, Perry is a relaxed cropped sweater with a deep V-neck, perfect for layering over blouses or pairing with long skirts, white leg trousers or shorts. The European shoulder construction provides a neat fit while remaining beginner friendly. Making Perry is a satisfying project for anyone looking to add a cozy friend to their handmade collection. Now, no secrets, I love a raglan, I love a deep V-neck, and I love, it's a bit like this, just the ease, like garments that are just in your wardrobe that you know you're going to keep going back to. And that's what appealed to me about this sweater. Perry is worked seamlessly from the top down. Only the V-neck portion is worked flat. The sweater is finished with well-defined yet casual 2x2 ribbing around the neckline. Now, the other thing that appealed to me about this sweater is that she has used mYak fibres. Now, she's used the mYak Baby Yak in the medium weight. I stock the lace weight, but the lace weight held double will give you the gauge. Now, if you haven't used Baby Yak, what I'll say about it is, like, it's incredibly soft. It's a luxury yarn. But the yak, the actual staple of the fibre is really quite long, so it doesn't have the tendency to fluff or pill that wool has, and it's because of that long staple. So the garment is basic, but I think it only needs to be basic because the yarn is so luxurious that I think it would just be a really, really beautiful piece. So just a little bit about the yarn. mYak Baby Yak, it's ethically sourced from the nomadic people of the Tibetan plains. The yarn is then spun in small artisan mills in Italy. I said that it's a long staple and therefore is less likely to pill. So yeah, it's a big contrast there, isn't it, between those two patterns that I've just shown you. The Regalia, which is full on detail, and then go to the Perry, which is very basic. Yeah, so they're the two. I really want to do that Perry, and I really want to do it in the mYak. I have a couple of colours here that I brought down, and this is because I want to show you another project. But there are sort of browns and darker earthy type of shades. That's the oatmeal, which is sort of the an undyed version. But there are some lighter, brighter colours as well in the mYak Baby Yak. So I've probably got at least 12 of the colours. But you can see those on my website under mYak. Okay. Have you ever had that situation, and I'm sure you've all had that situation, where you have talked about something and then all of a sudden it appears on all your social media feed? It's like your phone listens to you. And actually it's because your phone does listen to you. Somebody said to me once, your phone actually has built-in microphones that by default are always turned on. So you can actually go in and turn those off. Because basically, yeah, your phone does listen to you. But on this particular day, I go to this small coffee shop in town, and I always pick up this local magazine. So this is the Metropole, and it's a free magazine for the Canterbury region where I live. And it's really full of ads. Bit of local news. It has write-ups about cafes and restaurants and fashion, and it's a free magazine that you just pick up. And I opened the first page and I saw this. It's not a pattern. This is an advert for a shop and a jersey. But I saw that and I thought, wow, that just looks so casual and comfy, and it looks like it's done in, it looks like it's cashmere, or it just looked beautiful and luxurious. And I thought, oh, I'd love to knit something like that, but in a luxury yarn like a cashmere or Baby Yak. I don't think I could do cashmere. I think it would cost me a fortune. But I thought, like that, I'll grab that and I'll take that home with me. And then I got home and I opened my phone and I was flicking through Instagram, and it was like, oh my God, there's that pattern. Not quite that pattern, but almost that pattern. And I just thought that was really uncanny. It was a real coincidence. So the pattern that I found on my phone that I'm going to share with you, once again, it's a really basic raglan. It's called the Elle sweater, and it's by Katriana Lindhagen. And I'm going to insert the photo of it now so you can see it. So this sweater has actually been knitted with 2 strands of lace weight, equaling about a sports weight, with a gauge of 23 stitches on a 4mm needle. And I looked at that and I thought, oh, kid silk mohair with Baby Yak. I am going to knit that. Those 2 yarns. Now I'm going to show you why I had those colours. That pattern come a lot. It was just uncanny that I saw that book and then that pattern showed up, and it just had the gauge and the fabric and the fibre that I want to knit a cosy raglan in. So I went into my little shop, and they're the first 2 that jumped out at me. And that's the Baby Yak lace weight in oatmeal. And that's the, I don't know because these are numbers, but it's white, or, you know, it's a natural mohair. And I just saw those 2 and thought, that's what I want to do. And I think it'll be so cozy and so luxurious. But then I thought, oh, maybe blue. Like, that is a perfect match. So this colour is called Dusty Blue, and it's got a matching kid silk mohair. Then I just want to share this with you because some of you might be thinking the same thing, that garment is basic, but in a luxurious yarn it'll be just stunning. So then there's these 2 here, which are dusty pinks. It's actually called Dusty Pink, with a mohair. And this, I don't know if I can wear this colour, but it's absolutely stunning. It's called Apple Teeny, and it's got a matching mohair. And I just thought, so where are we? Let me go back to my notes. So the Elle sweater by Katriana Lindhagen, lace plus lace. So you could just do it in any 5-ply or sports weight yarn that will give you a 23 stitch gauge. So you could just use Yarnadelic or any of those. But it's just a basic raglan. So where I'm coming from is it's not, I don't think it was so much the pattern that caught my eye. It was, that's the pattern that I could do in a really luxurious yarn. So it's just basic top down in the round raglan with a twisted rib hem. Schematics are available. Yeah, there's nothing complicated about that pattern at all, except for the fact that it just coincided with me seeing that and my desire to do a snuggly, luxurious yarn. Once again, you could do that in cashmere and mohair, but I think it would be really expensive. But just a thought, just thought I'd put that out there. You never know. So what's next on my list? The next thing on my list is I just want to talk about a couple of dates, and I'm going to leave all these links in my show notes. So the 20 to the 23rd of March, there is a knitting retreat in Greytown, which is the Wairarapa. It's hosted by James, who owns a yarn store up there called Joy of Yarn. And he has a keynote speaker and tutor and designer joining him, and that is Gudrun Johnston. So she's coming over to be part of that knitting retreat. There is also, I think it's on the Sunday or one of the days, there's a day for traders, and James invited me and I was going to be there for sure. But then he came out with the dates and I can't go, so I'm not going to be there. So I am really, really disappointed. In saying that, you know, family comes first, right? So my husband, I've shared with you before, he does long distance trail running and his preferred distance is 100 miles. And for about the last 6 years, he's done this one down in central Otago, and it's on the same weekend every year, and it happens to be that weekend. And of course, he said to me, just go, Lisa, that's fine. But he's done 2,200-mile running events, and I've been at every one. I've never missed one, and I don't want to miss one. Like, I crew for him. I'm his support crew, and we've got it so fine-tuned. Like, he can come into an aid station and we don't even have to talk. Like, I know what I have to do, he knows what he's got to do, and I thought I couldn't have him go and run 100 miles and me not be there. So I won't be there. But I will leave the link, because I think that if you're in that region and you want to be part of a 3-day knitting retreat, I've been to knitting retreats, they are so good. So keep that one in mind. The other one is the 30th of March, so it's the week after. I will be at this one, and it's North Canterbury Knit and Gather. They also have classes over a weekend with Libby Johnson, also known as Truly Myrtle. Some classes with Lisa Craig and Elizabeth from mYak Here Knits. And if you go to their Facebook page, Knit and Gather, you can see all of those classes, and you can sign up or contact them about doing some of those classes. Then there's the 3rd of May is the Fibre Festival, 45-degree Fibre Festival in Goa. I will be at that one. And then the 6th of June, Wool Feast here in Christchurch. I'll be at that one. So that's a mouthful, but I'm going to leave all those links below because I think they're pretty important things to put in your calendar. Right, next I have a shop update. I've actually got a little bit creative with this shop update. I've been doing, I do a lot of work in the background, and I do hope that it translates onto my podcast. I'm trying to have a little bit of a point of difference. So I'm going to do a quick shop update, but what I have done is a bit of a slideshow that I will insert now, and I will just read to you what should, all going well with technology, I will read out what's going to roll over your screen. Okay, now mYak fibre fully stocked, and I have all of my colours. Chalgu fort tips are now available, and they are all fully interchangeable with all of your Chalgu cables and accessories. I did mention I'm going to do a thread and maple order, and we'll be getting some of the new pages and restocking up on the boundless bag and the pop-up bag, which are sold out of. So if you have any special requests, please reach out and let me know. I offer a ball winding service for a small fee. So if you don't have all the equipment to take your yarn from skeins to balls, and you're sick of asking your husband to sit there and hold them out, on my website, when you purchase yarn, then you can just go to ball winding service, and for a small fee I will wind those for you. It really just covers the use of my equipment, time and power. What else have I got? For those that don't know, some of the brands that I stock: Jameson and Smith of Shetlands, Mondim sock yarn from Retrosaria, mYak fibres, John Urban Textiles, and more. I also stock under my own brand, Unwind to Knit with Me, a hand balm and a solid bar, needle tip stitch stoppers, and stitch on hold cords. So I have quite a range of accessories. So deliveries outside of New Zealand, I use DHL, 2 to 3 days to Australia and 4 to 5 days for other places in the rest of the world. Afterpay is available at checkout. And please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. It helps me and my channel, so I can continue to do this and bring you content. And like I always say, there are so many podcasters out there now. So if you have chosen to spend your time with me, yay, thank you. I really hope my technology comes across okay. I hope you like the new room that I'm bringing you my podcast from. I don't know if I did it earlier on. I posted on my social media, I did a video where I scanned around this room and showed you everything that's in here. I will pop it in here again if I haven't already, because like I said, I know not a lot of you, but there are customers and viewers that I know don't go onto Facebook and Instagram, so they wouldn't have seen it. So I will finish this episode up by showing you a little bit of a walk around of this room. If the audio or the visual isn't quite right, I will see it when I upload it and do my editing, and I will make any corrections that I need to make. I have a new mic, so I'm hoping that comes across well. I was using, I think they call it a lavalier, but one that I hooked onto my lapel. But number one, I didn't like the look of it. Every time I looked, that's all I could see was this black microphone stuck to me. And also, I move my hands a lot, and when I knock it, I didn't like the sound. So I do have a new microphone, so I hope that's coming across well. Okay, so episode 67. It's a good number. It's the year I was born. So episode 67, 3.5 years, and you are still with me. So thank you very much. And that's me done and dusted for this episode. Stay happy, stay healthy, and I hope you get lots of knitting done. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye for now.